All right, all right. Hey, Scott, how's it going? My name is Nigeria Chambers of Big Gold Belt Media. It's a pleasure to talk to you today. How you feeling?
Feeling good. How about you?
Doing very well. Congratulations on another banger of a movie with The Seeding, which is making its world premiere this year at Tribeca Film Festival. I checked out the film a little bit earlier than everybody, so you all got to wait just a couple of more days till you can check it out. But it is a fantastic film, and what really intrigued me, besides it being a horror film, I love a good horror film,
Right.
is looking at your career, looking at your resume, you never know what you're going to get with you. And what I mean by that is that you are so diverse in your acting. Your range is tremendous. So you don't know, are you going to get a badass film where you're just kicking ass for like an hour and a half, or in this case, a survivor film, which is giving us an array of emotions. I just want to know for you, when you're getting thrown these projects at you, what's the excitement behind it, knowing that you just get ready to add just another mantle on the diversity chart for you?
Yeah, it's I appreciate that, Nate. I appreciate you watching the movie and it's good to
No
meet you
doubt.
today. But normally I've done some horror movies. I think the last one I did was Antlers with Guillermo del Toro and Scott
Yes.
Cooper. I had to
Mm-hmm.
lose, yeah, I lost 82 pounds for that role. So when I read this script, I said, "Oh wow, this is a little bit where I'm not. It's not going to be a 6 month, 4 month process to get ready. So that's new. That was
Yeah.
exciting. It's nice to play more of a, I guess, regular person, if you will. So that's what I read. I really noticed. I was like, oh wow, I have all my teeth. I don't have to look like a skeleton. I don't crazy changing my hair. It's just like it's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And yeah, your resume, folks, if you're not familiar with Scott, I don't know how, but your resume, again, you just look at it's like different character. And what you do really well is I never see you the same in any role. I
Mm.
know you're a professional, I know that's part of the job, but it's not something that everyone masters. I mean, again, what Josiah saw was one of my favorite movies of that year.
Mm.
And then you go to Antlers. I'm just like, all right, well, what are we gonna get here? And you go back to Minari, you're like, okay, like this guy is like a chameleon in this sense. And with you really being the lead of this film,
Mm.
which I definitely want to give the flowers to everybody involved with this, but truly the success of this film is driven by the work that you do in this film. You have to connect with your character in order for this film to operate. With that, I could imagine this film has taken you into many different places, and I want to start off with some of the scenes that were filmed, or which it appears to have been filmed in complete darkness. Can you talk me through working through scenes like that, or how was it filmed, and what's the mindset in operating in a scene like that?
You just so I understand, in complete at the I don't want to spoil anything, but in shooting in complete darkness, like literally.
Yeah, it looks like there's a scene
Yeah.
when you're being attacked, shall I say. I don't want to give too much away too, but the way how
Okay.
it's shown is just it looks complete darkness. And I love the cinematography in the scene because it's like we see you kind of struggling, kind of navigating through things, and folks are kind of coming at you. I just want to know what's
Oh,
kind of the mindset of like
oh,
walking
I know
through
what scene
that.
you're talking about. Yeah. Look, we had an amazing team behind this thing. So I just looked at Barnaby, and he's such a unique, talented director. And I just, when he said we're going to shoot that scene was very dark. It's funny you say that. That whole shoot was a descent into madness in itself. It was cold that night, and I couldn't see anything. So what you're watching is pretty just truthful. There's not much acting going on. I don't know what's running at me or where from. So, and I liked that. I didn't want to know where some of the people were coming from. It was great.
I'm glad you said that because that's exactly what I got from. I was like, I remember when I was a kid and I was scared of haunted houses. Then when you get older, you kind of are able to predict where certain jump scares are going to happen. But I'm like, again, riding with your character in this film, I'm connecting in the sense of like this emotion of unpredictability of things coming at you is just done so well. And again, the
Hmm.
cinematography, it's a masterful scene. With that too, talking a little bit more about your character, I want to know if there's any relations with you here. Do you have any photography skills? Have you ever went on any hikes by yourself to kind of, shall I say, disconnect in a sense?
I do it all the time. I do it. That's hiking is, especially in the pandemic, that seemed to be my daily activity, was get outside in nature, go for long walks.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I love, I'm a huge obsessive when it comes to everything space and stars and aliens and UFOs. And so I'm always looking at the sky. I'm always taking photos of eclipses. I've done that. So
Yeah.
that's one thing I for sure shared in common with this character. And and yeah, I find myself just going on those hikes all the time. I actually went on a hike. I'm shooting a movie right now, and I was like, you know what, let me go on this hike. And then I realized where I was hiking was pretty much where 127 hours happened. And I was alone. And I said I need to go back home because it was actually after this seating. So I was like, I know how bad this can get on multiple levels. So I went back home. Yeah.
Yeah, that really
Turn
went
around.
into my. I was about to ask you, like, does it now, mess with your mental a little bit now, knowing like
Yeah.
the endless possibilities what these heights could be. Um, and when I talk about the emotions, and folks, when you watch the film, you'll totally see it here. I mean, a couple of words and a couple of the different emotions that I went through was like the feeling of being trapped, the feeling of desperation, and then like the feeling of feeling defeated, and the way how you have to jump between these different emotions is something that I'm sitting here trying to think like, how do I flick through that? What were some of the thoughts or tools that you use in order to like go through these different emotions through this film?
There's something very simplistic about this movie where it's all basic survival emotions. If you haven't eaten in 2 weeks and somebody delivers a pizza, you're going to be super happy,
Yeah,
so it's just really tapping into, just living truthfully under these imaginary circumstances. And that's what I did. It is, and that's one of the things that I enjoyed about this film and this script. It was such a unique take that, Barnaby's a first time director, and I read it
yeah,
and I said, we cover everything here. I go through the whole spectrum on this journey, and that's one of the things that appealed me, that attracted me to the role, is the just how much I could do with it, and
yeah.
especially where it ends, because I end up, I don't.
What a ride. That's literally the last thing I have on my notes here, because the
Yeah.
unpredictability. I talked about the things kind of happening to you, but overall with the film, like the unpredictability of events, and I just was kind of jaw dropped, like, wait, what? At the end with this one here. I definitely want to give a shout out to Barnaby. As you
Yeah.
mentioned, the first time featured directorial debut here for Tribeca. Fantastic job. I would love to see what you two can cook up down the line. Again, I think you have amazing chemistry. And then I also got to give your co-star Kate some
Kate,
love.
Kate was brilliant.
Listen. I don't know if you two have worked in the past, but we got to talk about these scenes that y'all share together.
Mm.
They are a story in its own. And when you attend film festivals, there's overall in categories, and then there's things put into certain selections and whatnot. As again, this is the seating, it's in the midnight category, making it world premiere. But then when you look at the different genres that's attached to this, horror, absolutely, thriller, absolutely, mystery, absolutely, and then the word that really caught my eye was art. And that's how I was like, by all means, they nailed it with that one. Like the artistry between you two creating a scene that is very a small set, I would imagine, but a tremendous big feeling between the two of you two. How was it working with her, and how did you all able to work this chemistry in the way you did?
Yeah, I was just super lucky and blessed that Kate was my partner in this. I've done some movies now, and well, how do I say this? You can tell, like, pretty soon when you meet somebody, the vibe that they're going to bring. Some people are collaborative, some people want to be left alone. And I respect everybody's process, but Kate was the ideal person for me to be working opposite on this, because we both really care about our work. We want to do our best always. We pour our hearts and souls into it. So she was willing to roll up her sleeves and do some really challenging things that I just can imagine some actors would not want to do. And she was game, she was ready. and she was just, I think she's brilliant in the film. And I on a personal level, she's just a good friend, and I'm grateful we'll be friends for life, because we definitely went through it together on this one.
I love that. Yes, y'all did. It's a fantastic job. For my final two questions I have for you here, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the stunt work here and the
Mm.
choreography. Why, folks, yes, this is a horror film and it is a thriller. There's a measure of choreography that's happening and some of the things that are happening within the film as I kind of tiptoe around what I'm saying. But one thing I am truly going to isolate on is you hanging from a rope.
Yeah.
I need to get the behind the scenes on what happened because listen, I seen a film. I can't think of the name of it right now, but I seen the film, and the director was like, "Yeah, we actually did have them on a tall pole so that they can create that feeling of being up high as the film is." So I never put it past anybody to say, "Hey, you know what? We actually are going to hang this guy in there because we want to genuinely create that suspense here." But whether it happened or not, I would love to still know what was the work behind that scene. And I will have to say this, folks, that lifeless body action that you were given on there, that was tremendous. I thought I missed something because it looked like your body was just numb, and I was like, what is happening here? It was a fantastic job there. But could you talk about this scene?
It's funny. The rope scene. There's actually two scenes that were crazy stunts, and I'll mention the other one that is that you didn't mention, which is actually a scarier one. It was like, it was actually the day after that shooting happened on the Rust film, right? So, and it was this big day, and the day. So I was already like spooked and in my head about the whole deal, and in the film, this isn't giving too much away. There's a canyon that I descend into on a rope ladder. Okay. So I met with the stunt team before, and my job was to descend down this rope ladder that's swinging in the freezing cold. Now, my main thing is I'm scared of heights. So I'm very proud of this film because I literally looked something that has been a trouble for me my whole life and just did it. And I felt good about the stunts because we had such a great stunt team, and we went through all the safety precautions. So it wasn't I was nervous that something was going to happen.
Right.
It's just I'm terrified of heights.
Yeah.
And the other thing is when you're hanging on a rope for hours, you better just make sure you go to the bathroom because it takes hours. It takes a long time to get you down.
Yeah.
So these are like inside things that.
Man, I tell you, and the film I was talking about, I looked it up really quick, is Fall. The director Scott Mann, it was like, yeah, we had them up on the thing and we created our little thing and had them look it out. I was like, oh wow, that's torturous. So now I'm thinking when I see stuff now, I'm like, oh, you just never know. I know like there's green rooms and green screens and all that, but like you never know. And I think again, you did a fantastic job. You should be proud of yourself because either from the ladder rope or just the suspension of the rope itself, just crazy job.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
and again, just to go back, the lifeless body hanging there, was that actually you, or if it wasn't you, just how does somebody perpetrate something such as that looks so genuine? I literally felt that was like the end. I thought this is it.
Well, it was partly me, but I'm not, they said I couldn't slam myself into the rock. And I really wanted to do that. So my actually that was my stunt guy who did
Yeah,
that. Because it was such a hard hit, and he actually took that hit against the rock, and we had like more scenes to shoot that day. So sometimes, unless you're Tom Cruise as an actor, you just like, you go into it knowing that the stunt guys know more than you, and they're here to keep you safe.
yeah.
And I just got really lucky with my man who he just sold it. He just sold it amazing.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. Well, listen, I'm gonna give you a moment now. For the final question is, what as this film is as much as it is a thriller and as much as a horror mystery and whatnot, there seems to be some very underlining messages and themes within this film. So, if you could share, what is it about this film that you want folks to take away from it once they check this out?
Well, it's a good question, Nate. I think that what I love about this film is it goes back to the way I think movies were made that I loved. You know, if you, I grew up on Taxi Driver. I grew up on films like that where it isn't some spectacle of special effects. It's people connecting, going through a very interesting, complex, hard, challenging situation. And I want people to enjoy these type of movies more because I think we've moved so far away from a movie like The Seating into these, you know, spectacles, and that's what people watch. So I love cinema. I love the craft and the storytelling form that I get to do,
Yeah.
and that's what I want people to walk away and say, you know, we need more films like this about.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what my hope is.
Hey Scott, man, you got another one, buddy. And I was looking at your resume. You got a couple of more projects coming down the line, but once again, this is one on the good chart, as a lot of the other ones are as well too. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you have an amazing Tribeca. I cannot wait to see the reaction from the crowd once they check this out, folks. This is The Seating. Put it on your list. It will be making its premiere this year, Tribeca, June 11th. You have a show on June 13th. You have a show on June 17th. You got plenty of opportunities to check this one out. This is one you want to have in your list. And again, shout out to Barnaby Clay making his directorial debut. I need you and Barnaby to stay in touch because, yeah, that's the collab we need here. But thank
Yeah,
you so much for your time, buddy. You have a good rest of your week.
man. Thank you, Nate. I appreciate meeting you, man. Have a good day.
Absolutely. Take care.
Ridiculous.